Members of the Biden administration and federal officials are telling HuffPost that they feel silenced and unable to engage in legitimate debate about what is happening on the ground in Gaza. As the civilian death toll among Palestinians skyrockets, those who want to talk about Israeli restraint or humanitarian protections for Palestinians feel particularly stifled. And we have some quotes to share with you from that report. Now, several of these staffers across multiple federal government agencies, most of whom do work on national security issues, told HuffPost that their colleagues worry about retaliation at work for questioning Israel's conduct. Now, the period since the Hamas attack represents the first time in the administration that there was a real culture of silence, one official said. It feels like post 9/11, where you feel like your thoughts are being policed and you're really afraid of being seen as anti-American or an anti-Semite. In fact, one civil servant who spoke to Huffington Post or HuffPost expressed tensions between their job and also challenging human rights abuses. They don't want to lose their jobs, they don't want to deal with retaliation, but they have concerns, moral concerns about human rights abuses. I'm trying to educate people about Palestine through social media, but I'm worried I'll lose my security clearance for criticizing the president or blaming the United States for civilian massacre. I feel like there's no place for me in America anymore, and I'm on thin ice with my clearance because of my heritage and because I care about my people dying. Obviously, this civil servant spoke to the press anonymously and refers to his or her heritage. So I'm guessing that this is either a Palestinian or an Arab individual. But some officials say that the administration is now falling back into bad old habits rather than taking advantage of the personnel it recruited. Remember, the Biden administration really loves to pat itself on the back for the diversity within its administration. But oftentimes, to me at least, it feels like they engage in tokenism and aren't actually concerned about the input that a diverse staff might want to provide. And I think this is an example of that. One reason to want a diverse staff is to have a variety of inputs into your decision making, not just to check a box on a little quota sheet. You want to benefit from the more informed decision making that happens from a broader set of experiences, having a seat at the table. But there's more. Others said that the inner circle on these issues is not at all diverse, does not completely explain the monstrous disregard for innocent Palestinian lives, or does that completely explain the monstrous disregard for innocent civilian lives? No, but it's hard to think these things are entirely disconnected. And one official initially felt unable to even highlight concerns about the consequences for Palestinians in policy discussions. It took me till Wednesday or Thursday, I'm assuming this is after the October 7th Hamas terrorist attack, to have the courage to say, I don't think it would be good for America if we are seen as responsible for killing Palestinian children. There was awkward silence, like a pin could drop. And I'm like, are they going to report me to the House Un-American Activities Committee? And things have apparently gotten so tense within the Biden administration with this dissent over how the United States government is just showing unwavering commitment to the Israeli government, regardless of what it does, that on Sunday, Presidential Personnel Office Chief Gov't Ragavan actually organized a call with close to a dozen current and former high-level Muslim appointees to discuss their concerns. They felt that their voices weren't being heard. Some staffers said that they felt unsafe voicing their opinions around colleagues, according to a person on the call, which has not been previously reported. Now, I share this with you to note that there are people within the Biden administration who have deep concerns with the ongoing brutality toward Palestinian civilians. I also share this news with you because it is clear to me that the United States government has decided to support whatever Israel does. And so when President Joe Biden goes on the world stage and claims that Israel has been cleared of any wrongdoing in that hospital explosion, and that his State Department provided data that leads him to believe that, you have to excuse me for being skeptical, because it appears that there is currently an environment in which Biden wants to hear certain things and silence dissent. And if that's the case, how are we to just trust what's coming out of the Biden administration in regard to their intelligence in Gaza? That's why I would like to wait a little longer for an independent third-party investigation into what happened in that hospital explosion. That's what I would like to do. You're free to believe whatever you'd like to believe. But again, outside of that hospital explosion, we cannot ignore other healthcare facilities that have been targeted, entire residential buildings leveled, entire residential neighborhoods in Gaza leveled. The fact that 22 hospitals in Gaza were given evacuation orders by the Israeli government and the IDF. Why do you think they wanted to evacuate those hospitals? Inpatient hospitals where people are on life support, babies that are in the ICU unit, elderly people who need dialysis treatment. My mom had to go through dialysis. I can't even imagine not having access to that and being told to evacuate a hospital when you are in need of medical care. So all of these things matter. And what I definitely have a huge problem with is that there seems to be a double standard where we acknowledge, and I think this is the right thing to do, the disgusting terrorist attacks that killed Israeli citizens, civilians. Absolutely abhorrent, disgusting behavior that has been condemned on this show multiple times. But if you were disgusted by those attacks and the brutality that Israeli civilians faced, you can't then turn around and just minimize the brutality toward Palestinian civilians. And that's exactly what the United States government is doing right now. It's embarrassing, and I can't stand for it.
Hey, thanks for watching that video. We really appreciate it, guys. And we appreciate it if you become members, because that allows us to be independent, honest, progressive, all the things that you don't get from corporate media. And all of that is because of you guys. Hit the join button below and become one of us, become a Young Turk.